Was Kiss a good band? Well, let's talk about it. First thing to consider is the fact that from the very beginning, Kiss considered themselves a theatrical spectacle as well as a musical enterprise. There was never any doubt about the fact that their visuals were just as important as their sound. Keeping that in mind, there are a couple of things to consider when we look at Kiss just from a musical point of view. First one is the individual players. I don't think there's anybody out there who would argue against the fact that Ace Frehley is an inspired lead guitarist and that his solos show a great degree of musicality. I also think there's a very few people who would argue against the fact that Paul Stanley is an accomplished songwriter. He has a knack for putting together a hooky, poppy, but still aggressive song, and his vocals are more than adequate. Sometimes they're distinctive. I would say that, Gene Simmons, he has some good riffs and some good songs, but he was never a particularly visionary songwriter. He's kind of a follower, a musical follower. So when we look at Kiss from a purely musical point of view, it's almost as though the individual performers are not really the point. So that leaves us to examine the songs. When we look at early songs like Deuce and Strutter, Black Diamond, there's clearly a very big Zeppelin influence, but Kiss is a little bit heavier than Zeppelin, and they're darker than Zeppelin. They're not as blues-based as Zeppelin. They are almost leaning deeper toward Black Sabbath without going fully into a metal sound. So the best way to characterize Kiss, as it's been often said in the past, is as the ultimate party band. If we're going to think about them strictly in musical terms, all that we need to do is imagine that Kiss performs without any spectacle whatsoever. No costumes, no lights, no makeup, no explosions. If they were to come out and perform a set of those songs in front of an audience that had never heard of them, what would the effect be? Well, I think they would still win the audience over, although it would be less effective. The reason that this is the case is because there is no distinction in Kiss between their theatricality and their songs. Their songs are structured to showcase their theatricality. Their theatricality is structured to grow organically out of whichever song they're playing. So if they're playing a song like God of Thunder, then the performance of that song on stage completes the song. It is not a complete song without the performance. In this respect, you have to say that Kiss is not an accomplished musical band, but they are an accomplished act. One can look back at their recorded materials and easily identify Destroyer as the most polished and the most professional sounding of all of their records. The most successful early record, of course, was the live album, which come to be known isn't exactly live. One of the problems that Kiss had throughout their career in a strictly musical point of view is finding a producer that could understand them and work with them. I think that maybe Bob Ezrin is the only one that truly had a handle on what made Kiss tick and was able to put it on record. Eddie Kramer was an interesting choice, and I think that Love Gun is a good record, and certainly Almost Human is an example of something that shows where a producer could push the band to a higher level than they were capable of on their own. But I think if you go back and look at Kiss from a strictly musical point of view, the best thing that you can say about them is that they are true to the spirit of rock and roll. At least that's what I think. If you have an opinion on this or any other issue connected to contemporary or classic music, please leave a comment below and remember to like and subscribe. Thanks a lot.